Marine, brave, driven, and too often forgotten. Long before the United States enters the war, they are already serving on the front lines, crisscrossing enemy-infested seas to deliver critical supplies to allies around the world. In the months after the U.S. officially joined the fight, as the arsenal of democracy continues to turn out millions of tons of equipment and material, the seamen step up their efforts to deliver goods to American and Allied troops. Gold is left in Great Britain. It was the Arctic Sea, the Soviet
日本仔投降啦！槍械 ship。
The United States is at war and its Axis partners, Germany and Italy. A daunting challenge now faces the American people. We must defeat three battle-hardened enemies on two fronts. The Axis war machines are fully mobilized, crushing nation after nation as they surge across the globe. At home, the United States stands unprepared for war. Our armed forces war industries will
get a call from the prison.
the United States will have
And then to go to a certain speed, get asked up, crank it to wherever, let the engine.
They took over the whole Asia.
in the advent of Pearl Harbor, the Pacific, to prevent Japanese advances. Within days, Japan upsets the strategy. With an insatiable appetite for land and resources, the Japanese continue to sweep across the Pacific and soon threaten Australia and New Zealand. This drive leaves Roosevelt little choice but to direct more of America's meager assets to the Pacific. The war against the Japanese will be conducted across thousands of miles of ocean, a scenario that demands a new naval strategy. The outcome will be determined from above, by planes launched from aircraft carriers, and from below, by Allied submarines strangling Japanese supply lines. But before this strategy can be implemented, the United States suffers a demoralizing string of defeats. The Japanese seize the United States territories of Guam and Lake Island. They also attack the Philippines, where they overwhelm American and Filipino troops stationed in Bataan and Corregidor. On April 18, 1942, the United States strikes back. As the sun rises over the Pacific, Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle and his men embark on a daring mission. They will put the new strategy of launching aerial attacks from carriers to the test. 16 Army B-25 bombers lift off from the USS Hornet. Their plan? Fly 500 miles to bomb Japan, then pray that enough fuel remains to reach China. Doolittle's raid inflicts minimal damage, but scores a direct hit on Japan's sense of invincibility. Back home, the raid boosts America's sagging morale. 3 weeks later, in May 1942, the strategy is tested again in the Coral Sea. The United States sends 2 aircraft carriers to block the Japanese advance on Australia. For the first time in naval history, both sides attack solely from the air. The Japanese sink the USS Lexington and severely damage the Yorktown, while the Americans sink an enemy carrier and cripple 2 others. The Battle of the Coral Sea is a costly tactical victory for the Japanese, but for the first time, the United States has blunted Japan's relentless advance in the South Pacific. The question remains, can the Americans actually defeat a superior Japanese Navy? The real test lies just around the corner.
Just around the corner. Whoa. That's what they saw. Brutal.
We were so young and so stupid, and we had no concept of what war was supposed to be like.
Fair Sensei.
Bombarded almost every night.
In the summer of 1942, the Japanese are continuing their push across the South Pacific, taking island after island. Their objective is to isolate Australia and New Zealand by attacking supply lines coming from the United States.
This is Japanese weapons. This is Japanese 有工业。
Not only does the Allies' innovative plan save lives, it rapidly accelerates their timetable. So that by September 1944, Nimitz has already reached the Palau Islands. At MacArthur, wartime. Now, as forces prepare to merge, the question will.
See, the whole China got taken. Korea.
Oh yeah，高人先好的，冰岛的方面想回的。
Saipan. Oh, yeah, Bunjaya. Where's Singapore?
喺上邊落嚟。
Taught from childhood that the Chinese are racially inferior, Japanese troops descend on the city, murdering hundreds of thousands of soldiers and civilians, including children. Women and young girls across the city are also raped, many mutilated. Atrocities continue elsewhere as the Japanese
I forgot the press. Nagasaki. We were there, remember?